Are you ready? I am ready. I am so excited to be here with you all today for Glitter and Gab. So, welcome in. In the comments, say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Sometimes I forget to ask that, and I forget where you're from. So it's nice to have the little reminder here and there. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Jenlyn, and I am the host of Glitter and Gap. I'm the creator of avant-garde branding and um, a few other things we'll say. I don't want to have to go, into a super laundry list, but I am a multi-passionate, and so I created a lot of different aspects to bring to the world of business, entrepreneurism, and to branding with a neurodiverse twist and everything that it is that I do. So I'm super excited to have you all here. And today we're going to be talking about my beautiful friend. And we had a little bit of makeup fun today. And she's coming in hot. She's coming in hot as the Phoenix Rising, and that is her brand. And without further ado, it is time for the return of Crystal Phoenix. How are you today?
I'm great, and yes, we did have fun in the videos you sent. So amazing, but I was missing some of my makeup stuff. So next time, and we will get to when we will be together next time as one of our little discussions, I will be full blown Phoenix. But this is a good starter. I love it. Thank you. And I love your hair. I love that you're embracing my personal Phoenix colors. Thank you so much, sis. I truly do.
You're so very welcome. It was super fun. And it's been something that I've been trying to get around for you, to do. And I thought, I may not be able to get on with you, but at least I can just do it every step of the way. And we did. And you look great. You look great. So next time, though, we will. Next time we'll go all out. We'll make sure we got some feather boas and,
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. We need
that reminds me, I have a makeup mirror that I need to send you. Or I think I'm going to hold on to it till I go down to Texas to visit Matt's family and we'll meet up. It's a smart makeup mirror where it's got a tablet in it, all of it, and you can record your mate when you're doing it, and it gives you tips and all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt gave it for me.
And let me know what that is. I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to invest in one of those. That sounds great. Justin, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the lovely comment. Appreciate you very, very much. And so, yeah, today we're just going to kind of have some fun. We're going to talk about Crystal, and you've got some things coming up, and we've got a collaboration that we're working on together, and just some different fun stuff. So we also have an hour to talk, so let's
where should we start? Well, why don't we talk about the collaboration that's coming up, because that's actually coming up sooner than the book project, because the book project isn't due until the beginning of November, whereas the summit that I somehow convinced, not that it was hard, I didn't have to twist your arm too much, got you to be welcome to be my co-host, and very graciously. And big reason why I asked is, yes, number one, you are my branding and marketing mentor and guide and friend, but because you understand on a fundamental level what I'm trying to do with this. For those of you that don't know, most people see October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it's also Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, which is very near and dear to both of our hearts. And you've been, in our avant-garde classes and everything, you've been teaching us how to, to host summits and make presentations and things like that. So I decided to take the ball and run with it and host my own summit for domestic abuse awareness. And we've got 12 total amazing presentations. 2 of them, yes, are going to be pre-recorded, but very, very important over 2 days. And over those 2 days, I mean, we have people speaking from all walks of life, whether it's coaching or just sharing their own story. Um, I have a police officer from the Broward County Sheriff's Office who works in the domestic abuse uh, area, and he is going to be speaking on how that affects not only police officers and how they have to look at it, but as a dad as well. Not gonna lie, every time I talk to him, I tease him that when I introduce him, I'm gonna have a clip from the Colin Ray song, "I Think About You," because in the video, Colin Ray's a police officer with a daughter, and
Yes.
every time he sees all these different women in different scenarios, all he does is he thinks about his daughter and how he would want to help them.
Yeah.
You know, and he laughed and he said, "Go for it, because that is how I look at my work. That's why I do what I do." You know. And the speakers that we have are amazing. Just to throw a few shout outs, we have the beautiful Sharon, who is going to be speaking on how domestic abuse affects the family in total, and financial abuse in that and everything. Our beautiful friend April is going to be talking about breath work and centering. I know you've got a few little things that you're going to throw in there. And, you know, one of the pre-records is a testimonial about going through domestic abuse and being able to find love after, because that is so important, because so many survivors just give up.
Yeah.
We have such a wide variety of amazing people that are coming together, and I'm just amazed. It amazes me how many people are just ready to say yes to me. It seriously humbles me. I feel like I'm just me. Why? It just really does. It humbles me to see that I have this many people believing in me.
Yeah, people believe in you and they believe in your cause. They have ties to the cause. It's something that's also important for them. And, why not? Why not? And so I'm always super excited to be a part of anything that you're doing. And for those of you that may not know, why is domestic abuse and survivorship and thriving afterwards so important to you specifically?
To me,
Yes.
well, number one, as a survivor, I felt like so many people didn't believe me or didn't care. Also, victim shaming was a big thing.
Mhm.
I lost almost everything
Yep.
because I'm a survivor. I lost my girls to a flawed system, and I don't want that to happen to other people. I want the awareness out there. I want to try and make people understand that it's not the victim's fault that they were abused, and to shame them for getting up and standing up and saying enough's enough isn't wrong, and they didn't do anything to cause it. you
Yeah.
know it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault I got cheated on. I had a remote control broken on my face. Broken bones, 4 concussions in 1 weekend. I didn't do anything to deserve that. The 4 concussions in 1 weekend was because I'd finally had enough of his cheating and then lying to me about it, because I had been told by the girls and given proof.
Yeah.
And had said, "I know what you're doing. I need 24 hours away from you to make my choice of whether we can work this out or not." He hunted me down, forced me to go home, and then put my head into a wall multiple times. Matt actually saved me. I was able to get a message out to him through someone else, and he came running to my house. None of that was my fault. In fact, I was trying to, figure out, could I even save this relationship, in a peaceful way?
Yeah. I think that's where people get trapped. So I do want to talk about that
Mhm.
just for a second, right? This is where people get trapped.
Mhm.
They don't understand. And this is where the victim shaming comes in, is that what do you mean you were trying to decide whether or not you could save this relationship, right? Like why? And so this is where the control comes in, right? To
Mhm.
understand that you've been, when you're in a relationship with an abusive partner, you are stripped of your confidence, you are stripped of your belief in yourself, you're stripped of monetary abilities, you are stripped
Mhm.
of communication, you're stripped of of a lot of things into the outside world, and that's what people don't understand. And so I really want to just spend a few minutes kind of going a little deeper in that, if you don't,
That's no,
mind,
that's
because it's
absolutely, that's
so
why I
important.
do what I do.
Yeah.
At that point in time, um, I will own it. I have abandonment issues. I have for a very long time, and you've been amazing in helping me with a lot of that inner child work as well over the last few months since we've been working together. And I truly do appreciate everything you do. I will tell you that. But for a long time, I had abandonment issues. I felt like I wasn't worthy. I wasn't enough. Hell, if I wasn't, good enough for my biological mother to stay and I was only 9 months, my dad started a whole new family when I was 14 when I'd never even been allowed to live with him full time. You know, and here I had two beautiful children with this man. Um I wanted and I loved him. I'd known him for at that point in time we'd been together for 7 years.
Mhm.
And the abuse had systematically started shortly after our firstborn was born. Now, granted, the isolation had started pretty much from the beginning. I just didn't recognize the signs
Yeah.
because I
And I
didn't.
want to say that again, right?
Mhm,
I did not recognize.
mhm,
I didn't recognize, and you don't, to a degree. And to the degree that you do, you have these deep belief systems about the power of love, about the power of empathy and compassion and understanding,
mhm,
and that you're supposed to, right? When we commit, it's supposed to be for life. And that means you do whatever it takes to
mhm,
make that commitment last, right? And so it's so important to look at the whole picture and to also realize that there are very brilliant, just like you, just like me, right? Brilliant women that are smart,
mhm,
that are strong, not weak, right? They're not weak. Um, and you get caught up in the web of all of these things. All of these beliefs start coming forward.
yeah,
And at the same time, they're slowly but surely removing and stripping
mhm,
you of your ability to reach out. They'll have conversations, right? Abusers will have conversations with your friends, with your family members, to
mhm,
make them believe that you are the one with the problem, that you are having issues, and that you are going crazy, and all of these things, so that when you do reach out, you are not believed. And outside of the premises of the home, almost always, they are 100% charming,
yep. Oh yeah,
loving, compassionate,
absolutely.
empathetic.
Well, luckily on that end, asshole was not like that. Like when he introduces himself, he will straight up say, "I'm an asshole. Just if you don't like it, oh well." That he always in that way, and I would laugh it off because he was in my eyes for a long time. He was a good guy. He was a fun guy, you know.
Yeah,
But he did systematically, just isolate me. I mean, he moved me to a state where I literally knew nobody.
Right.
And I was the one that, for the most part, did financially support our family.
Hmm.
But he would also, you know, as soon as he saw I was getting too comfortable in a job and was making friends, he
Right.
would start lighting up my phone, lighting up work phone
Hmm.
for no reason, things like that. I do want to highlight a comment in the YouTube chat
Yeah.
from my beautiful friend and fellow Phoenix, Ajot. Um, she said, at one point, I think many of us thought an abusive relationship is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And that leads back to what I was saying about the abandonment issues,
Hmm.
not wanting to be alone. I had two young girls with him. And since he'd been the stay-at-home parent, um, he had also basically trained them not to really listen to me by undermining me when I was home and raising them basically with fear, you
Yes.
know, things like that. So when I finally, and yes, I had made reports about the domestic abuse,
Hmm.
but I wrote victim statements to the judge, not wanting to end our relationship, owning that I wanted to make it work, but pleading with the judge to put him into a drug rehab and mental rehab facility for a minimum of 3 months and in-house, because I felt that if he could get the help, that we could rebuild, that we
Yes.
could be the family he would go back to the person who I fell in love with. Now, I do realize that honestly, the monster that he is who he always was,
Right.
and he, was really masking it. But at the time, I still loved him, and we had our children, and I didn't want to believe that he was that monster. And that's a big thing when it comes to domestic abuse. You live for those few minutes of good times where we're outside barbecuing because it's your kid's birthday party and you're actually having fun with everybody and they're not
Right.
being that monster. You live for those highs, you
Absolutely,
know.
because it is a Jekyll and Hyde, and we are complex beings, and
I used to
that
say that all the time about him. I was like, I'm getting whiplash from your mood swings. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. And
yeah,
I would say that to him all the time.
yes. So it's important to have these, conversations, and I see so many of you in the comments, and I want to just, thank you all for being here. It is a choice to be here. And when we've gone through difficult circumstances, especially circumstances that aren't generally understood by a lot of the world, it makes it even harder. And it is a decision and a choice. So thank you for each of your presence, for finding the strength to make it through your circumstances and to find some way to be able to still keep trekking, finding a way to love yourself, trust yourself and others again, right? Because that's very difficult. And it's something that is a huge part of society, especially abuse against women, and it does happen to men, but it is highly more towards women, and then not being understood or believed, not having the resources that you need, and unless a police officer is standing there while it's happening, there's almost nothing really that you can do. A restraining order is nothing but a piece of paper. We've seen there is an entire network, an entire movie network on television. It's called
Lifetime.
Lifetime. And it is all about millions of women's stories.
I used
Right?
to watch them all the time.
Exactly. They have to do around, this topic and this subject. So
Yep.
I'm happy to be a part of the summit. I know that, like you said, we have, and I believe April's joined on the other side from the comments. I can't see that she's commenting, but I saw what Sharon said hello to her. So welcome in April and welcome in Chasen.
Yes.
And
We are
So
actually going to be with Chasen talking about the summit on the 1st, actually.
yes,
That's how he was able to participate and support us. And we
yeah.
did, without even telling people that you were my co-host, I've had such amazing support. It really is. It is humbling. You know,
Mhm.
I'm up here trying to share my story and to give a voice back, to others. And it's so like important to me because I went to the police, like you said. Matt and I went with 4 pages of threats from 24 hours. They We were dealing with 2 police officers. They separated us. Now, remember what I said in the beginning. I did want him to come home. I wanted us to work things out, but I wanted him to get the help. And that is one reason why a lot of times cops don't care. Well, I had left. I had gotten out fully. We went with 4 pages. They had me call him. They physically heard him threaten me and say where he was going to be in 30 minutes, that I needed to meet him there. The
Mhm.
one officer wanted to go do what was supposed to happen because he was violating the no contact order. The other officer, who was above him, who actually was friends with Chris, we'd all lived in the same area and gotten to know him, did nothing. Didn't care. Hi, sweetheart. My wonderful provider.
Yeah. And it's hard. There are a lot of rules and a lot of laws in place that, law enforcement has to stick by, and they have to obey, and all of those things. And um, you do get caught up, right? I was firefighter paramedic for 15 years. So when you respond consistently to the same place for the same thing with the same people, at a certain point, you yourself, as a human being, will go through a dissonance, yourself, because every option that you've given has not been taken or followed, right? Typically, the steps that can be taken are not taken. And even if you understand why the victim may not be taking them, there's only so much, so deep, that you can allow your personal self to go in without being pulled into the mess also, right? There's so much. There's such a huge dynamic there. So in saying that, I kind of want to switch the depth just a little bit, because we can go so deep so fast in this subject, and I don't want to go too deep. I don't want anybody getting stuck in the weeds with their experience or their feelings. I do want to say that if you need support or help, there is support and there is help, and please don't stop trying to get free, right? Don't stop seeking your freedom. Don't stop seeking your safety. One of the beautiful things that we'll be talking about in the summit is how to do that, right? How to do that, and how to restore your cognitive abilities, your cognitive function, whether or not you have mental disabilities or illnesses. You can still restore and begin to restore those pieces and parts of yourself to slowly maneuver and gain the strength and gain the confidence that you need to be able to get yourself to safety, right?
Yes.
And to be able to get out and keep the no contact, and don't allow yourself to be manipulated with the children, or don't be manipulated by pressing charges and then dropping them, right? And all of those things, like, and know that you're not that
Know that you're not alone.
you are not alone, and what you're going through is not alone, is not, you are special, but your circumstance at the end of the day is not. What constitutes and makes your relationship what it is and how it is folding out for you is identifiable, and it is a Lifetime movie that you are living that is on repeat, and it happens the same way over and over and over and over. Even though the circumstances are slightly different, every single one of us could tell our story and pull the systematic steps in the way that it happened over time, right? So know that there is nothing that you have to overcome that has not been overcome, and you have the ability to overcome. You do.
Trinity just leaked a little bit of what we were going to be discussing when it comes to the anthology.
Yes. So let's move on to that. Let's move on to the anthology, because you are doing an anthology
Series, no less.
yes, a series. And so let's move forward and let's talk about that.
I'm For those of you that don't know, I am doing a 3 book anthology series, all circled around domestic abuse, but different phases. The book 1 is about those who grew up in an abusive environment, whether they were abused by their parents or guardians, or they saw parents abusing each other,
Yes.
mom abusing dad, vice versa. And when they grew up, decided to break the cycle, even if in the beginning they perpetuated the cycle.
Yep.
But at some point they decided, wait, I know why I'm acting like this, right, and I don't want to stop. I want to stop. I want to break the cycle of generational abuse. Yep. In fact, my beautiful stepdaughter Katie is going to be sharing her story for book 1. I will own it. I will be ghostwriting it for her. We're going to, we're going to talk about it. And I mean, we're going to actually finally open up all those wounds. And it's going to be hard for me too, because she's going to finally tell me what happened when I would be at work, the things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And share. Trinity is also going to be having me ghostwrite her story. Because I get that some people just are not writers like me and you and Sharon, and they need the help and that guidance. And I have no problem doing that, because all I want to do is get the stories out. I want to help the people that lived it heal by doing so, and also give hope and understanding to the rest of the world. And, to try and break the cycles so that anthologies like this aren't needed in 50 years, God willing. The second book is your traditional survivor stories. And then the third book is the angel book, which you are writing a story for. I'm actually writing 2 different stories for that one. A good friend of mine on YouTube, Misha, is writing her daughter's angel story, because those stories need to be heard too. If Jen, if you're willing to share a little bit about what you're talking about with your angel story, I'd appreciate it. If
so I'm talking about, first of all, my life has been a life of violence. I grew up in a violent household, with drugs, alcohol, physical abuse, emotional abuse, intervening, stomping on feet and scratching and clawing at men to try to get off of my mom, right? Along with my twin brother, from very young age, 3, 4, 5 years old, being involved physically. And so then that leads into immediately as a child knowing that there's no fucking way. There is no way that I'm going to grow up and do this. And I can remember being really young and saying to my mom in those age ranges, like, I understand that you can't get away for you. Like, I understood that. And I would tell her this. I understand that you cannot leave because of your own self, but why can't you do it for me? Why can't you do it for us? You know, and I didn't understand that. I was kidnapped as a child at the age of 4, parental kidnapping from my father. And it was 2 years or so before, my parents, before my mom was able to locate us, just a lot. I've been through so much. And what I'm writing about in the angel story in the angel book is a story of my first wife, and we were married for 13 years, and we were firefighter paramedics together. And that's key here because it's a very big piece of the mental health decline that she experienced that ended in a psychosis. And she attempted to take her own life by way of overdose. But she had also gone to someone's house, and they were able to take her to the hospital, and they released her because there was nowhere for her to go. She talked her way very nicely and neatly into being able to say that she wasn't a danger to herself or to others, and kidnapped me and held me hostage for 72 hours, and attempted to take my life multiple times in multiple different ways. And I was able to escape at about 72 hours or so into the altercation and situation. And then she did take her own life. And this is really important to tell the story and talk about it in so many ways. First of all, is to know that you can survive anything. You can become centered within yourself, right? You can keep your dissonance about you. You can keep your function, your cognition, and all of those things about you, even in the midst of something physically being done to you. If it's something that you're able to lean into, and especially if it's something that you practice now. How we train is how we brain, right? So if you if you practice mindfulness techniques and things like that now, if something were to happen to you ever at any point, you're able to lean into those practices, and your body's already kind of pre-trained to help you stay out of so much of the fight, flight, or freeze. Second is fight, flight, or freeze is there for a reason. You let that shit protect you. You let your body protect you however and it needs and wants to. But this was a mental health crisis that happened.
And that's why I wanted to share that story in the angel book, because she was an amazing partner before the psychosis set in. We've talked about this privately, and she wasn't a demon. And I wanted that story shared because of that, so that her story, as tragically as it ended, doesn't have to be a tragedy for someone else. She wasn't a devil. She was your first wife. You loved her. She loved you. And that's why I wanted her story shared, because it is important for people to understand that not all abusers are that way because they're just inherently evil.
Right. Well, and the cliches are there. The cliches are there, but they're true. Hurt people hurt people. And the truth of the matter is that even though your abuser may have been in the absolute depths of also mental illness and psychosis and done the most horrible, unbelievable, tragic things, they're not an evil. The truth of the matter is that that's human nature. When you are abused and hurt, that and that is there's the potential that breaks a human, it breaks something inside of you. And that's one thing that we have to come together to realize. And this is why, if a person was able to say, I have these thoughts in my head, I have these visions in my head, I have the desires to do certain things, right? Because this starts in childhood. This does not just, I mean, and it can be just it can, but there is a trigger. There is something that happens, right? And if we could talk about it all the way around, if everybody could talk about it and safely know that they would be treated like a human and not just locked away into an institution and given drugs to be shot up into their, up into their muscle, whatever, you all know what I'm saying. And I know so many women even that have experienced that, right? And there's so many throughout history of being able to try to talk about these things, and then you don't get treated humanely. And when you're seen as a criminal and you go to prison, you are not treated humanely. You're treated worse than, a dog or a rat in the streets of New York, right? A lot of times the systematically everything is so unhealthy. But just imagine if we could have those conversations, and if there was humane, that's what we need to move through, is first of all accepting that it is human nature. Who hurt you is not evil. They are not evil, okay? They are hurt, very, very hurt and broken, and they are in the throes of psychosis and mental health. That does not mean that you stay around because of that. It doesn't mean that you take that abuse. It doesn't mean any of those things. But what it does mean ultimately is that, and this is a very huge thing. If you stay, one of the reasons that you stay is because ultimately deep down, that this person is not, that this person is suffering and hurt, and why, and they tell you why. They'll even use the stories of why they're the way they are to keep you around, right? That's part of the systems. But I want to say that at the end of the day, these things unfold the way that they do. But that person, for one, is not evil. And for second, they are not genius. They are not a genius that is sitting there like a genius conductor and knowing everything that they need to do and everything that they need to say and how they need to say it to manipulate. That's not the way it happens. It happens because it unfolds in the way that it does because of what's driving it all. And can there be premeditation? Of course. And can there be a plan and action? Yes. But they are not so brilliant enough that they can masterfully conduct you and 15 other people in your family, plus the police department, plus the court system, plus the hospital, and all of those things. They cannot. Stop giving them so much credit and start giving yourself some of that credit to get yourself up and out, right? Because
absolutely. And the thing is for the ones that do get, in the family's heads, thinking that it's, your fault and things like that. Because Cherry, she had her abuser, was very prominent in the community and everything else. So there are things like that it does make it harder and even more scary. But at the end of the day, there's organizations like Break the Silence Against Domestic Violence, which is an organization that I volunteer with. Sharon is now volunteering with, and I keep forgetting to send you the paperwork to sign up. I know. Um, that's because, well, we both know me. I'm a attention deficit shiny and forget things a lot because we
Me
both
too.
have so many projects and so many things that we're passionate about and working on
Yeah,
and everything that things do slip through the cracks.
absolutely. They do.
But um there are organizations that can help you set up a safety plan, a get out plan.
Yep.
All you have to do is reach out. And I know it's scary. I know
Yeah,
it's
it's
hard.
terrifying.
I know it's hard. Um, in fact, my first book, Rise of Crystal Phoenix, like my first solo, um, half of it is my story. The other half is actually a list of resources.
Yeah.
You know,
I have a friend
mhm,
that at the age of 19 was attacked and literally drug through a cornfield. Okay, straight out of a horror movie, and it was her boyfriend. And her personal story was that she did not grow up with, any kind of domestic abuse. She absolutely did not know the signs, and they were not. Mm, she hadn't known him that long, right? And so, in the middle of that cornfield, he was chasing her and attacking her with a silo. Okay, and so she remembers seeing the moon in the reflection of that weapon and knowing that she was going to die and accepting that she was going to die. But then she didn't. She didn't. And he um, ended up having her hostage for about 9 months. And she slowly but surely, right, earned little bits of freedom. And one of the things that he had her do as his captive was, cook, clean, do his laundry, and those types of things. And she would and did gathered pennies and dimes and nickels and taped them underneath her bed in different little packets underneath the bed. And in 9 months' time, she knew that she had enough. She had studied his behaviors enough, and she made a plan and she escaped. And that was, and with a child, because she had been impregnated and also given birth in that time. So maybe it was a little bit closer to a year. But you can.
that story right
You can
there.
escape.
If
You
you're
can.
still if you're still in contact with her, please send her my way to share her story because that story gave me chills. I
Yeah,
mean, the
she's a.
resilience is amazing. I mean, I would love to meet this person and just give her hugs for the strength and the courage to save not only herself but her child. And saying and bringing that part up brings up something to me that a lot of people don't get. The fact that she, had a child from her captor. And I'm sure she raised that baby with love and everything else. So many people are like, how can you care about that child when it's somebody, it's a, that one's a 50-50 team. But the fact that she saved her child and got out and was able to, I'm assuming, thrive and everything.
Eventually, yes.
And the healing takes time.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
not.
I mean, we're at it's like 35 years now.
Yeah,
This is 35 years ago.
She could have just left that baby behind.
She could have
left the whole nightmare behind. But it just showed the fact that of her heart and perseverance and strength that this baby's part of me. I don't want them. I love them. And raise them. And yes, the healing process, especially from something that horrific, I can only imagine how long and how hard it was.
And it's still,
yeah, because
it is a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine flashbacks because whether people want to admit it or not, especially coming from that, especially that part of a traumatic, I can only imagine, because I know I have flashbacks from different traumas in my life.
Right.
But I'm sending her huge flowers because, she saved herself and her child and persevered so beautifully. That's just amazing. And that is one thing. I didn't grow up in an abusive environment to where I would know what domestic abuse looks like. I didn't. Yes, my childhood has its own horror stories in itself.
Right.
But not in that sense.
Right. It wasn't the same.
From the outside looking in, people thought my life was great. But at the end of the day, I got out. You got out. And now I know how to recognize the signs, and I try to help others. But the thing is even if you have all the training that I do, life training and, actual trauma training,
yes,
all of it, you still can end up in that situation.
Absolutely.
Because
it does not matter.
No, because true abusers, they know how to fool everyone into thinking that they're not that person. It is most of the time it's a slow, systematic.
Well, it is. And the truth of the matter is they're both people.
Yeah.
Right. They're all aspects of what you see and experience is true of that person. None of it is necessarily fake.
He wants to be loved.
It wants to be loved. And
at the end of the day, all of us.
At the end of the day. It absolutely
and
is.
If you find somebody that in the beginning, is you feel you mesh with, you're not going to want to look at the signs. You're not going to want to see them.
Yeah.
Because wow, this guy, he's cute and he's giving me attention. Or this girl, she's beautiful. You're not going to want to see the signs. You're not going to want to listen to that, little bit of feeling in your gut or whatever. Because at the end of the day, we all want companionship. We all want to have that feeling.
Be accepted. It's a fundamental need. And that's why we are all, susceptible to not only being victimized, but to also victimizing others. We are all capable and susceptible to that happening. And so, okay. We've talked about a lot. We've got about 10 minutes left. And I do want to take a second to
go through the comments.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for the makeup, love. We decided to have fun today. Dina, it's beautiful to see you. And Miss 702 and Alexandria.
So, Lexi.
And Lexi and Trinity and Queen Kaylin, and I think everybody else I got to earlier. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for sharing your stories in the comments, right? I want to, so we've talked about the summit and we've talked about the books that you're doing. Is there anything else you've got going on?
Well, my work with you, the LinkedIn Love Affair trilogy is coming along beautifully. We're in the stages of final edits, and I'm helping with that project. You have a chapter as well.
Yep.
That's exciting. And like I said, I'm doing my volunteering with Break the Silence. Um, just a lot of amazing things, giving back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Such a
um,
huge part of the
mhm,
healing process.
yeah. And I won't lie, I'm tossing around a idea for this December of a artist healing one day summit, because the holidays are always so hectic and you're always worried about shopping and everything. And um I thought I would put together just a few hours with a couple of amazing artsy people.
Mhm.
Dina Fortune is actually
Yep.
one of the people. She's actually kind of what inspired this one for
Yeah,
me,
I love that.
because you
Love Dina.
know creativity is a big thing, and having a few hours to break up the stress of the holidays, get together and learn some new art styles and how that can be healing, and just relax for a
Yep.
few hours, I think is a good I think would be an amazing summit. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking about putting that together mid-December to just break up that oh my god stress between Thanksgiving and you
Mm.
know Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, the
Yeah.
December stress,
Yes.
the end of the year stress. So that's one little thing that I thought I'd throw out there, because you know it is going to be, every life is stressful, period, and we all want to find ways to help others and give back to our community, but we also have to remember to take care of us.
Absolutely. Most important, you cannot, you cannot, and 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 you cannot serve anyone if you are not first serving yourself. You cannot. You can't. You are fooling yourself if you believe that you're serving at your fullest potential if you are not taking care of yourself. Period.
I know,
Period.
and you yell at me, and Lexi yells at me, and other people yell at me for burning the candle at both ends and not doing my self care, which is why I brought it up.
It's
Because
so important to honor that truth. And soon, the sooner we can wrap around that, and the sooner we can begin to do that for ourselves. It is not being, and this is how I say it. It's not being self-centered. It is being centered in self.
yeah,
You have to
I,
be centered within yourself to be able to really fully serve.
mhm,
If you want, because you can serve and serve and serve and serve and not have to go through burnout,
mhm,
not have to go through imposter syndrome, not have to go through getting caught up by your distractions, right? And part of that is in that self-care is learning who you are at your core, learning how it is that you operate, and then learning how to work with yourself and as yourself and not have any separation. And then those things begin to, disappear. You have
and
to.
that's the whole premise of the Chroma class. Something
It
we
is.
were really talking about yesterday. That's really what I took home yesterday from
Yeah.
yesterday's class,
Mm.
honestly. Um, so I'm going to put a plug in there for Miss Jenlyn. The chroma classes that we have been doing, the avant-garde, guys, seriously, get a hold of her. They have changed a lot of my mindset, given me a lot of clarity. I know they've done the same for Sharon. For Queen Kaylin, I know that she has helped in a lot of ways. I mean, guys, seriously, it's not just about branding. It's exactly that. It is becoming your brand, because your brand is you, and figuring it all out. And it's also about healing. all at once and truly embracing your calling and being able to help not only yourself, but the people that you want to help. That is all of it. So please, guys, reach out to me, reach out to jenlyn, and let's talk about it, because like I said, it's changed my life in a lot. And we've only been doing this for what, 3 months? We're
Closer to
four, 5.
five-ish now, I think.
Yeah.
But
I mean, mhm.
the premises of branding that people don't understand is that it's not just the aesthetics, right? And that if we want to be successful in entrepreneurship, and in life and in personal development and all of the ways, we cannot ignore our past. We cannot sprinkle positivity on everything and it fix and move us forward in our lives. These things are only temporary. And so one of the things that I do help people do is to work through those traumas, restore your homeostasis, right? Restore your body back to a state of not quite so much constant fight, flight, or freeze, or reliving these traumas, right? So I've had people with lifetime night terrors that no longer have them. People with complex PTSD, which means your brain's physically changed, right? Guess what, though? That brain can physically change back. I had complex PTSD. I had the broken heart syndrome from what happened with my wife, and my heart, my literal heart, changed its form just like my brain did. And though over the last 13 years since, I have mostly reversed those conditions, right? And there's just so much that you can do. And also the skills to be able to use for the rest of your life to change your subconscious beliefs, change your belief systems, change what it is that you're experiencing, be able to be kind to your body, be able to do the things that it is that you need to do to live the life that you want to live, to be able to overcome and work through imposter syndrome and burnout, sensory overload, and all of those things. And then, and only then, are you prepared to take on the name of founder, the action of being a CEO, and creator of something that you're building yourself as an entrepreneur. And if you're not an entrepreneur and you're working for a company that already exists, you cannot step into leadership. You can't step into your roles as a parent, as a sister, a brother, a niece, a nephew, an auntie, grandparent. It doesn't matter. This is life. One of the reasons that I do choose to do it or with and around branding is because of the creativity, of course, but the real creativity and the real magic is you knowing 100% and choosing and being chosen and creating who you are. Who are you? Who are you? And in December, I'm going to be doing a magnificent event that it will be like nothing you've experienced. Even if you experienced my Neuroglamming Summit before, it has changed. It evolves each time. So that's actually going to be happening from December 1st all the way through to December 21st or the 22nd. I can't remember without my calendar right in front of me.
I'm excited. This is the first time I've heard this little gem drop.
Yeah. This is going to be 50 speakers, each one live. There will be done in panels, and we'll discuss certain, particular topics every day as we're going along. And then it will move into also, there's a 21-day challenge.
Ooh.
There's a pitch challenge. So I talked about this in Inspector Taboo on Tuesday, but we are going to take 10 pieces of of a masterful pitch that is done in a way that is not icky, it's not salesy, it's naturally done, it's organically done, and it's also done in a way, though, that allows you to communicate that, yes, I am my own boss, I have my own skills, I have my own offerings, and I rely on you, right? Some of you to pay me, right? So I don't have to be out in this world, right? These things. And so that's going to be part of it. And we'll talk about I'll talk about what each one of those aspects are as we're going along. But there's going to be, it will be an incredible event. And Jason and I have been missing each other, and we actually had a little meeting this morning, and I was thinking Central Time in my head, and it was Eastern, and so I have a surprise for Jason, actually.
Ooh.
It is related to and around this summit, and it's actually it's an award, Jason, and so my company itself is Unique One New Beauty Norm. My mission and my vision is to create a better world, a more beautiful world through the business world, right? And Jason, you exemplify everything about that new hybrid business model of how you do business, of who you are, of being concise and precise and consistent, and just all around changing the world in undeniable and remarkable ways. And so every week I do a midweek marvel. And this is my first annual Hero Award. And Jason, I know I'm gonna start crying, but you are the very first recipient of this Hero Award, and I want to, I'm just going to figuratively show everybody and present that to you. And this is what I have been trying to make contact with you for. So we do still need to do that. But this is...
I'm gonna... Jason said that he's going to... where you're going to make him start crying, and you're going to cry, and I'm going to cry, and everybody's going to cry. But it's all because, Jason, you do deserve it. You are a very close friend of both mine, jenlyn, Sharon's. You give back, and knowing your history is so deserved. Thank you for announcing this while I'm on stage with you, so I can say, Jason, you do deserve it. You are amazing, amazing person that I'm so honored to know. So this is awesome. I'm loving that.
So, this is your plaque, and it will be a plaque. The HERO stands for Humanitarian Empowering Resilient Organizations. And so thank you, Jason, for your service. Thank you for being who you are and for sharing such incredible offerings to the world. And like I said, truly, truly making a huge ripple effect across the world. So on behalf of Unique One New Beauty Norm, I do present to you the first annual HERO Humanitarian Empowering Resilient Organization Award. And thank you so much for your service and your friendship.
That's amazing. You know, it would have been cool. We should have waited until we were on his show to surprise him.
It's okay.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing.
It was perfect because today was going to be the day, and we missed it, and he's here, and so thank you so much, Chasen. And I will reach out to you here in just a little bit and tell you a little bit more about what this all entails for you. But thank you so much. Thank you, Crystal, for being my guest today. Thank you all for staying over the few 5 minutes with us. And I hope that you all have a great, wonderful, wonderful week. And we will see you next week here for Glitter and Gab, and or we'll see you on the 1st for Chasen, and or we'll see you on Tuesday for Spectre Taboo, and or we're always around.
Yeah, we're always around. Thank you guys. From LinkedIn, all of our family, thank you for both sides of the YouTube channel, both mine and Glitter and Gab.
Yes.
Guys, smash that like and subscribe on both channels. I know on my channel, my mods did drop the Glitter and Gab channel for you. My mods are amazing. I appreciate all of you. And April, I don't know if you were here, but we actually spoke about you when it came to the summit and everything else as well. Thank you. April was one of my mentors for a long time as well. Thank all of you for being here and your support. We love you guys. And even if you were late, hey, there's always Team Replay to catch up on what you missed. And I can't wait to see you all on in the future. And hey, join us for the summit. Mine, jenlyn's, we've always got something going on. Just reach out. Love you.
We love you all. And don't forget to be more than a brand, be a movement. Thank you all so much. See you next time.
Bye, guys.